let's go book shopping together. First stop, Starbucks. Can I get a grande chocolate cream cold brew? Book shopping wise, I have no plans today. I'm just gonna get what I get. Like, I'm just in the mood to buy some books. So who knows what I'm gonna buy? I'll probably end up going to 2 bookstores. I typically do go to 2.
Best time of year.
Yes. Makes me think fall is coming.
Oh, it is.
Perfect, thank you. We've reached the bookstore, but I realized I didn't take a sip of my coffee yet, so I'm gonna do that. Good old milk mustache. Delicious, honestly, so good. Let's roll. Okay, typically my game plan at a bookstore is to browse first, choose later, so that's what you're gonna see me do. I'm gonna look through all my options before I pick anything out, and at the end I will show you what I finally end up with. I did see that they had the last book in the Pariah trilogy. I really need to try this one. I do need to get to it, but I was excited to see this. I saw they had the next JLA books out, which was kind of exciting. Also, always happy to see some Carissa Broadbent in my bookstores. These are still the indie edition. Silver Under Nightfall, I've been waiting for the paperback to come out, although I do think it does look prettier in hardcover, which is unpopular for me. Chloe Gong's new book I've been seeing everywhere. I was really interested in this one. I'm intrigued. Also, this is a Indigo exclusive edition, so I think it has something from the author and stuff, and it is red. Yeah, I definitely was interested in this one. The Darkwater Daughter, I've also seen everywhere. It's a pirate fantasy, so I was definitely intrigued. Kagan the Damned, I've heard a lot about, so also really intrigued about this one. Had to read the back. Why do I look so serious here? I then perused the horror section to see if they had anything that I was interested in. This is one of the times I've seen it the most full, so that was exciting. This one caught my attention. I thought that the cover looked really cool, so I definitely had to stop, put my Starbucks down, and look at it. Definitely intrigued. Let me know if anyone's heard of that. A Certain Hunger I was interested in, but I hate the little flaps. Lightbringer was out. Obviously just had to showcase the beautiful cover. This one also caught my attention. I had never heard about it, but the cover just like really grabbed me. The bookstore was so busy. It was so awkward filming, I'm not gonna lie, but I tried my best. Also Fractal Noise, but I am waiting for the paperback. Their Summerween shelf was still out, and I just had to get a glimpse of it because I thought that was really awesome to see up. And then I looked at The Will of Many by James Islington. Heard so much about it. And then House of Hunger is one I've been sitting on for a really long time. Definitely intrigued. There were a lot of good options at this bookstore. I did end up going to the teen section just to like peruse. And who did this to Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom? Who thought this was a good idea? This is not good. This is atrocious. I have no words, but I had to showcase them. I hate them. And there we go. Okay, I ended up buying 2 books at this bookstore, so a decent job. I picked up Darkwater Daughter by H.M. Long, which I'm really excited about but also nervous about because I actually have attempted an H.M. Long before. I used to own Hall of Smoke and I ended up DNFing and unhauling it. The writing style just didn't really work for me, which is like a little scary buying another book by the same author because writing style obviously like a really big part of the author's stories, and it doesn't typically tend to change. However, I have learned that I tend to be a book person, not an author person. I have very few authors that I just love no matter what they put out. It tends to be about what they're putting out, not their actual writing, and so I'm hoping I'll just like connect to this story. And I've just been asking for more water-based stories in fantasy. It's something I've really, really wanted time and time again. And so this is a pirate story, I believe. We're following 2 characters. One is Mary, who is a storm singer. Her voice can still hurricanes, and like that just sounds cool. Like right there, then and there. Kind of reminds me of like a siren, but like for good. And she's been faced with servitude to a pirate lord, and in order to get out of this servitude, she ends up making a deal with his arch nemesis, I think. But her new ally has thoughts of his own, plans of his own, and it's not going to go the way that Mary expects it to go. I think her new ally is the other POV, who is a disgraced naval officer
who is commissioned to bring the pirate lord that she's in servitude to jail. On the back of the book, it does say he's looking for a talisman stolen by Mary, and I do know that there is some sort of level of romance to this. It's not fantasy romance, but I do know that there is like a bit of romance to it, and I'm really intrigued. This says a unique and breathtaking slice of high seas fantasy, which is quoted by Jen Williams, who I really enjoyed her writing. The other one I picked up is Kagan of the Damned. Oh my god, I just got over COVID, and my throat is still like not used to speaking. I picked this one up because Claire has been shouting at the rooftops about it to Mel, and then Mel has been wanting to read it, and the two of them have just piqued my interest in it. So when I saw it today, I was like, I think I'm gonna read the back and then I'm gonna get it. I don't know a lot about this story, like I truly don't. I know it's grimdark, and I do like a good grimdark when it's done well, so I'm excited for that. And sworn by oath, abandoned by the gods, fueled by rage, kings and gods will fear him, Kagan the Damned. A vengeance story is something that I'm really interested in. I love a vengeance story normally. This sounds like Kagan was the trusted guard to the royal family, and one night he's drugged and the royal family is all killed off. Sounds like the start of a good book, in my opinion. This says he's abandoned by the kings and damned forever. He becomes a wanderer and tries to take down all of his enemies and plot to kill the usurper. Chef's kiss already, this sounds so good. Fueled by rage to exact his vengeance, he must venture into strange lands, battle bizarre and terrifying creatures, and gather allies for a suicide mission into the heart of the Witch King's empire. I'm in. I'm really, really in. The only thing is it could become a little bit too much traveling for me. However, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'll love this. It sounds really good in my opinion. Here for it. Anyways, I am ready to go to bookstore number 2. My power is still off for another hour, so we have time to kill anyways. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna buy there. There was a couple that I was interested in, but wasn't fully ready to commit. But sometimes I'm like, if I see it at the next bookstore, I'll buy it then. So we'll see if I'm ready to commit at the next bookstore.
Okay, round 2. I know this one says Chapters, but Chapters and Indigo are now owned by the same company, but they just never changed their logos. This one I do like to look at their like tables. I feel like they have pretty good tables out. And on this one I saw Starbringer, which is the same pub that Fourth Wing is from. So I did check that one out. Did read the back, and I don't think this is a story for me. However, it does sound really interesting, so if the hype ends up getting it, I probably will end up picking it up, but I didn't pick it up. Then I went to the horror section, and this one's a smaller horror section than the other one, and there was nothing really new to it. A lot of the regular horror authors that you see. Then I went to the fantasy section, and this one has a lot more of like a walkthrough of the bookstore. I love how huge this like fantasy and sci-fi and manga section is, because technically that's all in their fantasy section here, but there's fantasy and sci-fi on either side of these. And I just got like really aesthetic here and walked through, and I looked at all these books. I feel like this bookstore didn't have a lot to show you with like what I was interested in. It was mostly just me looking at all the same books again. So we just went vibes here. I had just never seen a Wattpad pub before in a bookstore, and so this caught my eye and I just had to share it. These ones really intrigued me. I did end up looking at them, and I looked them up on Goodreads. This one looked really interesting. Definitely intrigued. And I'm just jamming out because I think that this bookstore always has really good music, so watch me jam. This one caught my eye. I really liked the cover, although not for me. And then the Brutal Prince discreet cover I just had to show off. I thought it was cute.
I feel like I didn't show you that much in that one. I feel like, okay, like I used to drive to this one all the time first. This chapter is a bit farther away than the other one from my house. Not by much. 5 minutes farther, not gonna lie. But like I used to always come to this one because I felt like their fantasy section, everything was better. Like this is bigger than the other one. And so I used to always come here. I loved it. It always felt well stocked. However, in the last like 5 months, I've definitely seen them swap. This one was like barely anything on the shelves. It didn't even have the new Pierce Brown out, and like that book sells. Like that book sells. It should have been out. It really like confuses me sometimes what they have and they don't have, and I find like new releases you have to come 2 weeks later to even get or ask, and I just like hate asking. So I'm like really frustrated with this chapters and really loving the other chapters. However, I still got one book, and it was a book I was gonna buy at the last one, but figured they'd have it here, so I didn't buy it. I bought The Will of Many by James Islington, which, guys, it's hardcover too, but I want to read it for an upcoming video plan. And I'm just hopeful because, like, here's the thing. I hated the Lycania series. Like, it's my least favorite series I've ever read. However, there is this thing that happens with my favorite authors. I can name R.F. Kuang and S.A. Chakraborty, how I absolutely adore their first series that I read from them, and then their new series came out and I disliked them. Like, I didn't love Babel or The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, and I adore the Poppy War trilogy and adore the Daevabad trilogy. So, like, I was shocked that I didn't love their new releases, and I've kind of seen this happen again and again with my favorite authors. So I said earlier that, like, I definitely am, like, a story person, not a writing person. And so I'm hoping the reverse will happen here. That Lycanius I disliked, but their new series I will absolutely adore. So I'm excited to try this. I know it's a school setting, and I love a school setting, and I think it's an actual school setting, unlike Lycanius, where, like, the school setting is, like, 20 pages. We're following a young fugitive who uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series. The Kitenen Republic, the hierarchy, may rule the world now, but they do not know everything. That sounds intriguing. This synopsis sounds really cool. We're following a main character who is actually sent to be, like, a spy at the academy and to solve a mystery and search for an ancient weapon to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart. And it sounds like a vengeance story because it sounds like, and that I will never ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. So it sounds like a vengeance story. I like a vengeance story. I'm very excited to get to this one. Now, oh my god, I need to open the windows. Give me a second. It's hot. I bought these 3 books. I'm happy with them. I'm excited for them. However, I feel like my book shopping itch isn't done yet, and there's a couple books that I still want. So let's go home and order a couple online, because why not? Why not? See you guys in a bit. Okay, now that I'm home, let's do a little bit extra shopping. There was one book that I looked at in store, and it was the second book in the series, and so I think I want to go check out the first book because I did look at the first book on Goodreads, and I thought it was really interesting. Stone Knife by Anna Stevens, who Anna Stevens also wrote Godblind. And Godblind has been on my list of books I want to read for a really long time. But I think the Godblind audio is on Scribd. A fantasy epic of freedom and empire, gods and monsters, love, loyalty, honor, and betrayal from the acclaimed author of Godblind. This talks about monsters living in rivers and streams. Also magical music, which I think is interesting. I have heard that this is a little bit character driven with longer chapters, and I typically like a shorter chapter style fantasy that, like, kind of keeps the plot going. However, I'm just really interested. Don't love the cover of the first book, but I did really like the cover of the second book. Add to cart. The other one I think I want is the new Chloe Gong, and they did have that at Chapters. However, they have, like, the Indigo exclusive, and it's red, and I kind of hate it. I don't think the paperback will be out for a really long time. So, I think I'm going to commit to the hardcover. It sounds really interesting to me. I know there's, like, a competition of some sorts. And I think that there might also be some romance in this one. Not 100% sure. This is, like, a vibe 5-star prediction. I don't know why, but I just, like, off of vibes that I've heard people talking about it, I think it's a 5-star prediction. So it could be read in September for Battleathon. We're gonna add to cart. I think I'm willing to get one other book. So let's go look at my, like, wish list. I think I'm also going to add Bloodsong to my cart. It's something I know I've wanted to read. I don't love the cover of these, so I've really been putting off buying it. But it is also for a video project coming up that I do think I want to read it for. So I think that that works really well. I feel, like, happy with these 3 purchases. And I feel like my buying has been accomplished. Like, I feel like 6 books has hit the bug. Okay, thank you so much for hanging out. Wow, I look like a mess, but I had no power today, so I got ready in the dark. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this little book shopping. Normally, I would probably wait and unbox these with you, but honestly, I need a video to go out, so this is going out without the unboxing, but you'll just know that I bought these 3 books as well. So I bought 6 books in total today in today's book shopping outing. I think that's a lot of books. Let me know if there's any new releases coming up that you're really excited about. I think that the end of the year we're going to have some really cool releases coming out, specifically horror books. I think we're going to do some good good damage on some new releases. Obviously spooky season coming up, but I'm really excited just to see in general. I think the beginning of the year and the end of the year tends to have really good releases, and the middle kind of slumps a little bit more for me normally. Obviously I'm excited for the next Fourth Wing, already pre-ordered, but other than that I don't really know, so I would love to know what you're excited about. Then if you have made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say we're here, leave me a shopping cart emoji or a shopping bag emoji. And then if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.